More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. We made a change to the show.
I know. I like it.
I did it without your signing off on it or anything.
I love it.
It was Friday when you weren't here. I had to make an executive decision.
Absolutely.
Love and freedom is one thing. Fighting for freedom, that's something else. So good morning, freedom fighters. Big Monday show today. Holy cow. Karoline Leavitt, who we spoke to before, came back to talk to us again. She is the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Can't wait to see what she has to say on how the president's, how he's feeling. I mean, he's always positive. Went to the UFC fight Saturday
it was
night,
amazing. Some of those videos were awesome, man.
He's so awesome.
His energy, I love it.
That's crap at 9:25 today. Rob Bluey normally joins us at 9:05. I'm assuming we asked him to move it down to make room for Karoline. Is
yes,
that right? Okay.
Yes,
so that was nice of him. So he's coming up at 9:41. 10:05. The title of the Council of the Gun Owners of America, Stephen Stamboulieh, will be with us because let's not forget Hunter Biden is up on gun charges and that trial starts today. And Jill has to celebrate her birthday in a courtroom. Isn't that great?
I know.
10:25. Ken was out Friday and he was sitting home, probably wringing his hands. I want to talk about this I can't believe this conviction. Blah, 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 blah. So I said to Ken, I said, you know what, Ken? 10:25 break is all yours.
And I appreciate it, Vic. I mean, I have a little trouble speaking today, but believe me, I have enough. I'll get through it.
And don't worry about it, because when it gets a little gruff, you sound like Frank Pentangeli.
There you go. There you go.
And Doug Blair from Harris _X_. Harris X will join us at 10:41. All right. So our first guest is actually the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Her name is Karoline Leavitt. Karoline, thanks for being back with us. If you could do us a huge favor and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great.
Sure. I would love to.
Awesome.
Are we ready?
You do it.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Really
we joke a lot, Karoline, because, the left likes to say Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. And Ken and I keep reminding him it's not a democracy. It's a republic. You didn't just say, and to the democracy for which it stands, did you? No.
No, I said to the republic.
Of course.
And when I said liberty and justice for all, it actually hurt my heart because that's truly what our founding fathers intended for this great nation. And that's not what we have anymore, unfortunately. And I felt that personally, having been in the criminal courthouse with President Trump over the last 7 weeks throughout this sham trial.
Yep, absolutely is a sham. And that's where we all start. This trial is so overturnable, by whatever, an appellate court, the Supreme Court, because the judge wouldn't let expert witnesses. He gagged Donald Trump. He, let the prosecution do whatever they want. They took testimony from a liar and a porn star. Is he optimistic about it getting overturned?
Absolutely. We said from the beginning that this case, if it moved forward in the courthouse in Manhattan, which it obviously did, would ultimately be overturned on appeal. So our legal team is working immediately to file an appeal at the appellate division, and they have said that they will appeal this thing all the way up to the Supreme Court. President Trump put out a statement last night, and he's right. The Supreme Court should get involved on this as soon as possible so our country can move on. Majority of Americans, based on the polling, realize that this case is a sham. They view it as a political persecution. And that's why President Trump has actually received an increase in support since the verdict. More Americans are supporting him than they were previously because this is not what our founding fathers intended. This was an anti-American, anti-justice witch hunt against Joe Biden's political opposition. So we will be filing an appeal. We are confident ultimately President Trump will be vindicated. This case will be thrown in the garbage where it belongs.
The left has to be shaken in their shoes when they see that the Trump page crashed because a lot of new donators, a lot of people who are just donating $10, $20, $30, $40, it made it crash. I mean, they have to really be worrying about the support he has now and the future support after this sham of a trial.
And they should be worried about it. The Democrats better buckle up because we have another report showing our numbers for the month of May coming very soon. And it's staggering. I mean, it's a historic haul. We raised $53 million in the first 24 hours after the verdict. $53 million. To put that into context for your audience, that's more money than the Democrat Party and Joe Biden's campaign combined raised in the month of April.
Wow.
The entire month. And the most staggering part about that is 30% of the new donors, and these again are small donors, as you pointed out, giving $20, $30, even $10. These donors, 30% of them were new. They've never been seen by a political party before. These are people coming out of the woodwork saying enough is enough. This is not the country I was raised in, and they want to make a change. And, it's not just in the fundraising. Like I said, we've seen it in the polling already since the verdict. But yesterday, on a Sunday in America, you had thousands and thousands of patriots standing up, protesting peacefully, I will add, engaging in car parades. We saw a massive rally in Huntington Beach, California. In my home state of New Hampshire, there was a 1,000-person car parade that went across the whole state. It ended with a barbecue of hundreds of freedom-loving people. These were not organized by our campaign. We saw another one in Staten Island, in West Palm Beach. I mean, again, our campaign had nothing to do with this. This was just real Americans who are fed up and pissed off, rightfully, and they are in full, wholehearted support of President Trump.
And Karoline, the small donations are a great indicator in the energy and the passion that people have for this president. And what I'm hearing is over the last, 24 to 48 hours since he made that $53 million, it's gone up to, some are saying up to as high as $200 million.
Well, I won't get ahead of our to hit your inboxes in a couple of hours, but I will say, I mean, it's remarkable, the small dollar donations that we received last month. And then again, you couple that with the big donors that are now coming to the table, and we've seen them do that since President Trump, wrapped up the nomination in historic fashion. We've seen big donors for the party, and some of whom, supported DeSantis, some of whom supported Nikki Haley, but that's okay, right? We had a competitive primary. Yep. President Trump came out on top, and now everyone's coming to the table.
We're talking to Trump 2024 National Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. The left, people in politics, people in entertainment, just left-leaning people, they had a big celebration all weekend, right? We got them. And they love saying the word convicted felon. And you're going to get sick of hearing that phrase, Karoline, because you're going to hear it from now through November. But wait a minute. Whoa. What happened to calling them people who were convicted of a crime? Justice, judicially impacted people. They don't want to use the word convicted felon unless it's about Donald Trump, which is a bunch of crap.
Oh my gosh, you're right. We're going to hear that word a billion times. It's already aggravating me. I need to let it go, or else I'm just going to be in a bad mood.
You better. I'm telling you, you better.
now in November, and just realize that this is their entire strategy and game plan. It's to use those two stupid words. But again, people see through it and they don't believe it. I think I actually want the Democrats in Biden's campaign to continue to focus on this case, because President Trump's going to focus on the issues that matter to voters, like our inflation crisis, gasoline prices skyrocketing again now that we're in the busy summer travel season. Families not afford to take the same vacations they typically would. Our open border is still a mess. This case has kind of distracted the news media away from focusing on what's happening, but we've still had thousands and thousands of illegal criminals entering our country. Just last night in New York City, one of them who American taxpayers have been paying to keep this criminal in a shelter in New York, gunned down 2 New York City police officers last night. He's an illegal criminal from Venezuela that crossed the border last year. I mean, this is a result of Joe Biden's policies. He 100% owns the border bloodbath and the resulting crime wave that we've seen since. And so President Trump's going to continue to talk about those issues while they can call him a convicted felon all day long. But the American people know that's a sham. And ultimately, again, it'll be overturned on appeal.
You know, we spent hundreds of billions of dollars to send to Ukraine, and Donald Trump wanted $5 billion to build a wall, and they wouldn't do it. So money had nothing to do with it. They just don't like President Trump. And imagine what the wall would look like now if we had all that money to build the wall.
Oh, it would be so big and so beautiful and so effective. You know, where the wall was built, President Trump, his credit, he got 500 miles of it done before crooked Joe Biden came into the White House. Where that wall was built, there was an 87% decrease in illegal crossings. I mean, walls work. That's why they have them around Capitol Hill. That's why Nancy Pelosi has one around her house, because they know that they work. And it's not about safety. It's not about us. They don't care about us. They care about themselves and power and corruption. And they care about funding countries all over this world rather than taking care of our own right here. And that's why President Trump has such a winning message. It's very simple. You could wrap up our campaign in 2 words, and they're not convicted felon, even though the Democrat Party wants them to be. They are America first.
Oh, yeah.
America first. That's all Americans, by the way. Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, whether you're rich or poor, you have a degree, you don't have a degree. President Trump doesn't care. He just wants everyone to be safe and wealthy and prosperous. And that's what his policies will do.
All right. Karoline, I want to figuratively introduce you to my wife, because we sit and we watch these congressional hearings, and then she yells at me like it's my fault. She'll say, "What's going to get done? Nothing. Nothing's going to get done." Every night I get yelled at every night. So, you know, Speaker Johnson says, "Well, watch out, left, because we're coming after you. We're not going to pass any bills you want to bring through, because this was a sham of a trial. And if you want to do that to him, guess what? We're going to do that to you." If that's just talk, I am going to jump off a bridge.
Well, I think we all will join you in that. No, I totally agree. And President Trump has said it many times. The Republicans need to get tough. They need to fight back against these witch hunts, against the weaponization of our justice system. I mean, they've formed a committee on the weaponization of our government, but it's time to put it into action.
Right.
And it's great to see Jim Jordan is hauling Alvin Bragg and Michael Colangelo, 2 of the 2 lead prosecutors in this case, before the House to answer questions on their involvement and to expose the truth about their coordination with the Biden White House, which we absolutely know took place. And so we look forward to that day when they are forced to answer those questions under oath after they've just spent 6 days going after Biden's political opponent on his behalf.
We're talking to the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary, Karoline Leavitt. We have a couple of minutes left, Karoline, and I want to bring up a point that Representative Benny Thompson has a bill going through the House that would take away President Trump's Secret Service. We have said from the beginning, by the way, I think we were the first people that said, if Trump goes to jail, Secret Service is going with him. Okay, that's how that works. So, but the point is, anybody, especially so many people don't like President Trump, going to Rikers Island by himself. So they don't want him just to go away. They want him dead, period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. And it's sad to say, but it is the truth. I mean, why else would you strip away his Secret Service protection? Why else would you even grapple with the thought of putting a former president, 77 years old, into prison? I mean, it's a sad, sad reality, but it is the truth. And, you know, it's so remarkable to work for President Trump. And he knows this, by the way. He knows how much the left hates him. But he's more concerned about how much the left hates our country rather than him. And that's why he's doing this. And anyone else would fold like a deck of cards, but he stands strong and firm. And honestly, I spent the whole weekend with him. He's never been more determined in his fight to save America. And people will continue to see that. We just announced a big rally for next weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh. Nothing will stop this man or slow him down.
I hope that rally draws 500,000 people. Because by the way, I'm from New Jersey originally. I spent many summers in Wildwood, New Jersey, and to see 100,000 people come out in a blue state like that was so heartwarming for me. And if he goes to Vegas, man, I hope 500,000 people show up.
Yeah,
because it'll show the left people still love this guy.
Well, we do too, and people can show up. So go to DonaldJTrump.com to get your tickets.
There you go.
Oh, wow. That's how you do that? I'll be damned.
Yeah. Hey, Karoline, real quick, we have a real strong presence in all of our streaming, and Edward, he wanted to ask what we think, why we think, or do we think that the appellate court's going to be as corrupt as the local court in New York?
I'm sorry, guys. I missed your question. What did you say?
Oh no,
You
that's
cut out for a
okay.
second.
He wants to know why we don't think that the appellate court's going to be just as corrupt as the local court who just convicted Trump.
Well, we have seen the appellate court actually give us some wins in many of the cases that have come before New York because of all these hack Democrat prosecutors. So, we're hopeful the appellate court will do the right thing. If not, like I said, we will continue to appeal this all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to.
There we go.
All right. So you mentioned you spent all weekend with President Trump. Did you mention to give us a call one time? I mean, really, come on. You didn't think about me all weekend, did you? You're breaking my heart. All right, listen, I know he's strong. I'm from that part of the world. I watched him do what he did for so many years. I watched black leaders, flock to him and him helping them. And he still helped Black America while he was president. I know he's strong, and I want a victory. You know what I'm saying, Karoline? I want a victory against the evil left.
We want a victory too. And guess what? The ultimate victory is going to come on November the 5th. And that's why we need everyone to be all hands on deck. I just told you, like I said, I was with the president. He's firm. He's determined. But he can't do it alone. And we all have a duty and a responsibility as Americans to get involved so we can win this election. And we just launched last Friday a new initiative called Trump Force 47. And if every single person listening to your show right now goes on our website, TrumpForce47.com, to sign up, we will be in touch with you. Someone from our campaign will call you and give you tasks on how you can be helpful in getting out the vote on November the 5th. And we encourage everyone in your audience to please do that, because none of us want to wake up on November 6th and wish we should have done more and realize that we're going to have 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden in the White House. We cannot afford that. We cannot let that happen. So please go to TrumpForce47.com, sign up to be a volunteer. We give you low-level tasks, but they make a huge impact. And then also go to DonaldJTrump.com to donate and to get your tickets to our upcoming events as well.
Perfect. Awesome. We have a state senator here in Missouri. His name is Nick Schroer, who is a great graphic designer, too. He made a series of November 5th kind of logos and stuff. You got to vote on November 5th. Oh, and by the way, next time you're hanging out with President Trump, just remind him of this,
Tough
okay?
And smart, and I love Italian.
Yeah.
So, he's definitely Italian.
I'm definitely Italian, and he loves Italians. Are you done? Are you sick of us? Are you done with? All right. Karoline Leavitt, thank you so much for your time. Please come back and talk to us again. Okay. That's the way you want to play, Karoline? All right. Hey, this is Jessica.
Yeah.
From my wife. Coming up next, an interesting edition of That's Crap. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
All right, that's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Tough and smart, and I love Italian. So, he's definitely Italian.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right. So that home you've been in for 30 years, maybe more. If it's time to sell the house, maybe you want to downsize. Once the kids are gone, right? Perfect time to downsize. You don't need 4 bedrooms anymore, right? You don't have 4 people to put in the bedrooms. So if you want to have something smaller and you want to sell your home, guess what? Guess who you should call? You know what I'm going to say. Rodney and Jen Wallner, the great Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. The Wallner home selling team, they have great flexible commission plans, right? They have so many approved home buyers ready to go that you will definitely get an offer. And here's what may happen, okay? You may walk out onto your lawn with your for sale sign and your hammer, right? And you're going to nail that for sale sign in the lawn. And your wife says, hey, wait a minute. Bring the sign in. It's already sold. The Wallners did it. Like, what? Wow. The Wallner team actually sells 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. Okay, great husband and wife team, great conservatives, and they're just a great realty team who happen to be great people at the same time. Right now available in Missouri and in Illinois, they are the Wallner home selling team, Rodney and Jen Wallner at Berkshire Hathaway. Give them a call today at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
This is 1019 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
On News Talk STL.
He's Italian, loves Italian. Smart, strong Italian. I don't understand what the problem is. Just so you know, we're keeping our eye on the House committee hearing right now. Dr. Fauci is being questioned by the House committee, and Jamie Raskin is currently kissing Dr. Fauci's ass. And after some of the Republicans get through with him, I hope he leaves crying. I hope he leaves crying and wetting his pants.
I think Fauci's in trouble. He's admitting a lot of things right now that we can talk about later, but I think he's in trouble. I really do.
When we talk about certain things on this show, sometimes I remember where we were. And when I say that, I mean, I remember saying this to you when we were still down at Union Station.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, Ken, Dr. Fauci is stuck because he can't go back and say,
Right.
Oops, I was wrong. And he can't continue this lie because it's a lie. So he has lied to Congress, which I believe is perjury.
When you said that, the moment you said that, no one was talking about it. And I remember thinking to myself, God, I hope you're right, but I just can't imagine you being right. Now,
what's that supposed to mean?
About being stuck, about
Okay.
the way the government works,
Can't
the way
imagine
this
you being
government,
right.
no, on the left.
I know.
And now he's afraid that if he goes back and says what he said before now, he's going to be even more
Either way.
impacted.
He's
by it.
stuck either way.
Yeah.
If he keeps going more, he's perjuring himself even more. If he says, "Oh, you know what? I was wrong. I was lying," then that's perjury, and he needs to go to jail.
Yeah. No. Well, he's actually admitting things right now that he said before that he didn't do.
All right. Boy, Ken, you put together a great show today, man. Douglas Blair from Harris X joins us at 10:41. I want to ask him specifically about some polls that happened over the weekend after the conviction and what people are thinking.
Yeah.
10:25 is Ken's turn. Okay. Ken was out Friday. By the way, Ken got surgery on Friday, and here he is back on Monday. You're like a trooper, man.
Thanks.
But Ken sent me a text. He's like, "Oh man, I wish I was there with you to talk about this. I can't believe I had to miss this show." And he didn't know. There's no way for him to know. You can't schedule your surgeries around.
I know. I asked him, they wouldn't do it.
So I said to Ken, was that yesterday I called you or 2 days
I
ago?
think it was yesterday.
Yesterday I called Ken and I said, "Listen, I want you to get your chance. So put together some notes, and 10:25, it's Ken's world." Go with that.
Yeah. I mean, I made notes. I had to cut some things down. I kind of, was going to take 2 segments. But
Wow.
there's just so much, Vic. There's so much to talk about.
I can just go home if you want.
No. We don't do that.
Hunter Biden is got a trial starting today that you'll hear nothing about on the mainstream media, gun charges. And Stephen Stamboulieh is the counsel for the Gun Owners of America, and we'll talk to him about what he thinks about that whole thing. Rob Bluey, Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal at 9:41. Right now, though, Oh, right now that we're going to the phones. And who is this?
Sean.
Hi, Sean. How are you, baby?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Thank you
So
for
look,
serving.
I don't. It's the greatest job in the world. You get to go off, drink, blow things up,
kill terrorists.
It's a good job.
Yeah, man.
Hey, if you're wearing your
Gaza Dream
these,
sheets,
pillow slippers.
That's
right.
yeah.
Sean, is that not the
Pillow
best
slippers.
part of that? Is that not the best part of that commercial?
Hey,
Dude.
I love it.
Can we play this?
Absolutely love it.
Right now?
Right now.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you the best price ever on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets. If you're on the front line fighting Hamas, you need the best sleep possible on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets, made from the finest cotton in the world, grown only in a region between the Golan Heights, the Dead Sea, and the West Bank. My Gaza Dream Bed sheets will get you the great night's sleep you need to kill Hamas terrorists. Order now and get a pair of my pillow slippers to sneak up on those Hamas terrorists. Use the number on your screen and use the promo code Shalom. Please order now.
Shalom, Sean. Okay. Now, what was the reason for your call?
Well, I don't want to make you feel like you're at home, Vic. I really don't. But Fauci in front of Congress again, what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It isn't like the patron saint of science is going to be in the next cell over from President Trump at Rikers.
Right. You're
Absolutely nothing will happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jessica, thank you for calling. Oh, no, wait. You're Sean. Sean, thanks so much, man. Thanks for serving. And I know you're always doing something good, so we appreciate that, okay?
All right. You guys have a good one.
You too, Sean. Thanks, man.
Sean doing his Jessica impressions. All right. We got to get moving here, don't we? It's time for That's Crap.
Welcome to That's Crap. It's the game where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. Here's the host of That's Crap, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Aldrin, very much. Thank you, studio audience. Thanks for coming out. Oh, ladies, stop it. Thank you so much for coming out. All right, our contestant today was born on August 15th, 1938. I hate to say, in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
Very sad that that's who not represents us, but she went to Vashon, of course she did, and moved to Los Angeles in 1961. She's been a U.S. representative for what, 300 years?
320, I think.
Oh, I always forget about those early years, the early 20 years. Okay, so the category today is Trump supporters, and Maxine, you're up. Ken, can you put 28 seconds on the clock? Maxine, go.
I am going to spend some time with the criminal justice system, with the justice system, asking them, tell us what's going on with the domestic terrorists. Are they preparing a civil war against us? Should we be concerned about our safety? What is he doing with this divisive language? It is dangerous, and we're going to have to make sure that we understand that we're not at risk with this man talking in the way that he's doing.
Ken?
Yeah, Vic.
You domestic terrorist, are you preparing for the Civil War? You got your tank and everything in the backyard ready to go? I know you're busy building your deck.
Yeah, I can't believe that she even knew that I had it.
Yeah, right. She knew about it. I'm sorry. Whenever I hear her voice, you know what I think of, right? Cowboys, whipping, black people.
Right.
That's all I can think of. All right. So what you're saying, Maxine, is that the right are the violent ones. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, she's saying that their words are causing people to maybe get hurt.
So I think the best person to be the judge would be Maxine Waters herself. However, we have to go back to 2000. Can you set the Wayback Machine for 2016?
All right, hold on.
All right,
Okay.
let's go ahead. Oh, man. You put some WD-40 in that overnight?
I really did, and I'm busier than ever because I'm recovering.
All right, here we are. Here we are in the year 2016. And Maxine Waters talking about voters of the Trump administration again.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them.
Push
and
back
you
on
tell
them.
they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
You push back on them. Push back.
They're all about taking away people's rights if you are a conservative, even to have dinner, even at a gasoline station.
Mm-hmm.
Who says gasoline station, by the way?
People who don't get gasoline.
Right? People who send somebody else to go, oh, we're going back already? Again, I need a warning if we're coming back.
Sorry, Vic.
Whoa. Man, I got to be ready for that. What are you doing? So, Maxine, sorry. It looks like you're the violent one, and it looks like what you said. That's crap.
There's one part of this right here. Listen.
What is he doing with this divisive language? It is dangerous, and we're going to have to make sure that we understand that we're not at risk with this man talking in the way that he's doing.
She's going to get the investigation, the DOJ involved. She's going to get criminal investigations of American citizens because of all this hate speech that's happening around this country because of Donald Trump.
I don't condone hate speech, but I got to tell you, hate speech is free speech. Sorry.
But it's not hate speech what he's doing.
What did I just say?
I know.
I said it's not hate speech, but hate speech is free speech.
Yeah.
So that's all the time we have for That's Crap.
This is Jim Modulin speaking for That's Crap, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman radio production.
Thank you, Jim Modulin, very much. This is Vic Porcelli saying help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody. All right. Boy, we have event after event after event coming up on this radio station again. Saving America 2024. You remember our first Saving America with Jim Talent and Dakota Wood.
It was amazing.
Now we got two more great speakers because the subject of this Saving America event is the economy and the courts. Joel Griffith on the economy and the great Zach Smith on the courts. Not that Joel is not great. I should say they're both great, or neither are great.
They're great.
They're great. From the Heritage Foundation. And that's happening June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone on the streets of St. Charles. It is free, but you got to get tickets just so we can get a count.
Well, yeah.
Just so we know who's going to be there, okay? So join us June 25th at the St.
And
Charles.
before it sells out, because we're not selling tickets, but it will fill up.
What do you say? We're not sold out. Gave out. Give out.
Yes.
Give away out.
And don't wait till it's full.
Don't wait till it's full. All right, coming up next, Rob Bluey, who was nice enough to move down a couple of breaks so we can accommodate Karoline Leavitt, who hung up on us.
She did not. She had to move to the next call.
Yeah, well, you know what? She's going to talk to President Trump. She better tell him. Call this guy.
I hear it.
Even if it's just to shut us up. Please, call him, please. Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation Daily Signal. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Now more than ever, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Oh, the erection is to storm Capitol Hill patriots.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Columbo and Katie.
Elon Musk is set to hold a town hall with former President Donald Trump after the guilty verdict. We'll speak with Virginia Crude about this at 2:45 on Monday.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means things like family gatherings, barbecues, and graduation parties, and Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your friends and family, so they're kicking off summer with an amazing offer. Book a cleaning in June and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Hi, I'm Officer John Van Gordon, recruiter with the Springfield Police Department. We are currently looking for driven, qualified, and team-oriented citizens to become the next generation of community-minded servants here in Springfield. Our salaries and benefits are paid from day one. Plus, right now, new recruits are eligible to receive a $5,000 hiring incentive, and experienced officers looking to transfer are eligible for $10,000. To learn more, visit GoSPD.com. That's GoSPD.com.
Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
Are you concerned about the future of America, the economy, the courts, threats to our freedoms? Tim Jones here. Join Newstalk STL for Saving America 2024, June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. Hear from renowned experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation as they analyze the critical issues facing our nation and provide insight into securing America's prosperity. Secure your tickets now at NewstalkSTL.com before they sell out.
Brought to you by West and Mid-Rivers News Magazines and the St. Louis Young Republicans.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Whoosh.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's NewstalkSTL.
Hi, Brad. All right. Good morning. You know, can I tell you, one of the probable causes of my death will be choking on my own spit.
You think?
One of these days I'm just going to die choking on my own spit.
Great. That's good for me to know across from you here. So if that happens, I'm going to run over.
I hope it doesn't happen right in front of you, Ken.
No, I hope not.
But it may. You don't know. All right. It's a Monday. Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal and the Heritage Foundation. Rob, thanks for accommodating us so we could talk to Karoline Leavitt. We appreciate that, okay?
Oh, you bet. Absolutely, guys. Wouldn't miss it.
All right. So listen, we've said for how long that Joe Biden is just a puppet, right? He's just a front for more than likely Barack Obama, who even said in an interview, yeah, I'd like to have a third term, but behind the scenes with talking to somebody with something in their ear, which, by the way, we've said too, who's talking to Joe Biden's ear? Well, we find out it's Barack Obama. And he laid out Joe Biden's Palestinian Israel policy. Shouldn't Joe Biden be laying that out, not Barack Obama?
You would think so, but
Right.
I mean, given the fact that so many of Biden's political appointees come from those two terms of the Obama administration, it's not surprise who really is calling the shots here. I mean, does anybody really think that Joe Biden is calling any of the shots anymore? I mean, this guy can barely put two sentences together, let alone come up with a foreign policy strategy. And the sad part of this is we had 8 years of failures of Obama when it came to foreign policy, and it was Donald Trump who came in and cleaned up the mess after what Obama left everyone in Washington D.C. to deal with, and we've resorted back to a world that's on fire as a result of these both ineffective and I think naive appointees who he's put in these positions.
You know what, Rob? I can't believe how etstoitsy the world is getting. We just had Maxine Waters on our little game show called That's Crap, where she said that you, me, Ken, all conservatives, we're planning terrorist attacks. We're building up our militias to start, a World War III. Isn't it them that's doing that? Aren't they the violent ones?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there is no question about it. I mean, you almost can go back to day one of the Biden administration and see how they started to undo the policies that Donald Trump put into place that had led to no new wars starting in Washington, D.C. And it was shortly thereafter, about a year later, that, of course, we had an escalation in the fighting in Europe. We subsequently had the attack on Israel. And you have to remember that through the Abraham Accords and all of the steps that the Trump administration took, particularly in the Middle East, we were making significant progress after years of failed neocon strategies going on across the globe. So I do think, though, what you're finding is there is an entrenched establishment in Washington that will cling to power and cling to these endless wars because for whatever reason that is their sole approach to how they do business.
Well, you're absolutely right on that one, huh? So I'm sorry, Rob. I apologize. Friday. Okay, first of all, Donald Trump was convicted on 34 counts on Thursday. Friday, I came in here. Ken was not here because he had some surgery. I was so angry Thursday. I was angry eating, Rob. I ate a yard-long Jersey sub. My wife didn't finish hers. I ate hers. I killed the coffee ice cream in the refrigerator. I mean, I was just angry eating, and we didn't give you a chance right at the top of this interview to talk about it. So your thoughts on the sham conviction?
Oh, well, thank you.
You bet.
I know it's amazing how quickly things move in this world we live in. I mean, first of all, number one, we have been warning, I feel like on this show for months, if not years, about the danger of rogue prosecutors. I know you're familiar with this because, it hits close to home in St. Louis. But what Alvin Bragg did, I think, has just opened up the floodgates for these George Soros-funded prosecutors to basically take aim at their political opponents. I mean, and the fact that Joe Biden came out and was cheerleading the decision and the verdict immediately afterward, fundraising off of it, gave you every indication that they think it's perfectly fine to go down this path of this sham type of prosecution. There is no other individual probably in the world, or certainly in the United States, who would face this type of case than Donald Trump. And that is because they will do everything in their power to attack and try to undermine Trump. They know that he's ahead in the polls. They know he's leading particularly strongly in those battleground states, the 6 states that are probably going to determine the outcome of this election. And so anything that they can do, attaching the name now convicted felon, you see this showing up in media headlines everywhere, is their attempt to try to sway these independent-minded voters who, tend to flip-flop between Democrats and Republicans depending on how the economy is doing or whether they feel safe at home or, how terrible the immigration situation is on our southern border. And so that's what's going on here. I mean, we can we have three more prosecutors who are pursuing similar charges. I don't know that those will ultimately pan out, Vic, but it's terrible.
We're talking to Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal and the Heritage Foundation. Well, you just used the word convict and fell. It was the left that said we're not supposed to use that word anymore. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. But immediately afterward, I mean, I remember a few weeks ago, there was some poll, I don't remember which outlet put it out, but they said if you attach the words convicted felon to Donald Trump's name, it sways independents, a certain number of percentage points. Now, ultimately, it's going to, be November 5th, and we'll see, if that bears out. I mean, polls can only tell you like a snapshot in time, and I feel like we're many, many months away from Election Day. But at the same time, I think this is probably why you're seeing them make such a heavy investment in this, and why you see the Biden campaign doing everything it can to try to put the focus and attention on this. They do not want the American people to think about the failures that we were just talking about with the foreign policy, with the fact that inflation is continuing to be a persistent problem, with the crisis of the southern border. I mean, you can go down the list. They would prefer to talk about anything else, and so this is what they're going to try to pivot to.
So let's think about this for a second here, Rob. They want to call Donald Trump a convicted felon. They don't want us to call murderers, scumbags, and rapists convicted felons. So what are they saying? That Donald Trump is worse than murderers, rapists, and what are they trying to say?
They are trying. That's exactly what they're trying to say, because Donald Trump threatens their hold on power. He has made it very clear that if he is reelected, that he will come to Washington, D.C., and he will carry out the actions that he had promised to do during his first term, and that was to drain the swamp. And by draining the swamp, what that means is that these bureaucrats who have controlled these levers of power in Washington, D.C., they are, lifelong federal employees who call the shots behind the scenes, will no longer be in a position to do so. And that threat apparently is enough to do everything in their power, including the sham prosecution, to try to take out Donald Trump.
Do you get as exasperated as I do about this?
Something you just said reminded me, Rob, of this. I just heard that Alvin Bragg makes something like $200,000 a year, but yet he's worth $45 million. How is that?
How did that happen?
I just looked it up, and it is actually a fact.
Rob, how'd that happen?
Wow, I did not know that, Ken. Thank you for sharing that news. Sounds like a great Daily Signal investigation.
It does.
It really does. It really does.
All right. How much time? Oh, we have time. So the Gateway Pundit has an article today that's really good, because the Biden campaign is saying that, of course, Donald Trump is a threat to, they keep saying, to our democracy, it's a republic, and Joe Biden will end it once and for all. What in the world does that mean? Listen to this. Oh, don't listen to this?
No, I just had to change something.
Okay, listen to this.
This is not a normal election. Donald Trump has already demonstrated that he's not a normal candidate. He is a fundamental, persistent, and growing threat to our democracy, and Joe Biden is running to make sure that we end that threat once and for all.
What do you think, Rob? Is that a hit?
You should flip the names in that, because Joe Biden is the real threat to our democracy. And I say that in part because you look at what his administration has done, and you look at this miscarriage of justice, how they've corrupted the justice system to pursue their political opponent. And I think that it's obvious to any American. I mean, look at the outpouring of support for Donald Trump after the jury announced its verdict. I'm not only talking about the fundraising haul that he brought in as a result of that from the sympathetic Americans who I think felt it was unjust, but I'm talking about all of the people who said, I've never voted for Trump through, the primaries and the general election or whatever, they were never Trumpers. And now they're saying that because of what happened in New York, their eyes are opened, they are changing their mind, and they're going to support Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, by the way, was not doing this. We just had we have countries all across the world that don't engage in this kind of behavior. What Joe Biden is doing. So for anyone to point the finger at Donald Trump and say he's the threat is just absolutely ludicrous.
But it's not just that. It's Joe Biden is going to end it once and for all. I mean, that sounds like Don Corleone putting out a hit contract on Donald Trump. The words that they use. If anybody else said that about Biden, they're inciting violence. They're inciting an insurrection, or even worse, they're inciting an erection.
Well, the other thing that I think we need to be mindful of here is we have a July 11th date for the sentencing of Trump. And, this judge, given how he's conducted himself and the fact that he has family members who are supportive of Joe Biden and trying to make money off of that, could very well try to send Trump to prison. You already have a Democrat who's trying to take away Trump's Secret Service protection. I mean, we might have a Jeffrey Epstein style situation here where they try to lock Trump up. I mean, there's any number of things that the radical left could try to do to Trump. And that's why I think, we've been sounding the alarm for many months, if not years now, that this is a concerted effort. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. They feel threatened. Their power is threatened by Trump, and they will do everything that they can to try to hold on to it.
And it's not just any representative who's saying it. It's Benny Thompson, who started a bill to get Secret Service taken away from President Trump. He was the guy who had the fake, phony January 6th committee. So, I mean, they don't want him just to go away. They want him dead. They want him in a jail cell at Rikers Island with no protection. That's a death sentence.
Well, it certainly is, yes. And I ultimately am hopeful that this will not pan out, because I think, number one, Trump has a very strong case for appeal. I mean, we don't have to get into all of those particular details, but I mean, just the fact that the judge's behavior and the way he conducted the trial and didn't allow certain people that Trump's lawyers wanted to call to testify. There are any number of grounds that this case could be appealed on. Now, that being said, we do have. I mean, I think we do have to be cognizant of the fact that July 11th is just a few days before the Republican National Convention, probably set intentionally before the Republican National Convention, because, again, they want to try to dominate the headlines and embarrass Trump a few days before, the big celebration where he will be anointed as the nominee of the Republican Party.
And this whole trial was based on he wanted to overthrow the election, right? It's like election interference was part of the prosecution's case, when election interference, including the case itself, is election interference. Like you just said, the sentencing day, 3 or 4 days before the Republican National Convention. My God, that's why we made up the term Edstoit, Rob. Everything Democrats say, the opposite is true. All right, let's move on. it's Pride Month. Are you celebrating Pride Month this month? Are you, Rob?
I'm not.
No,
I'm,
okay.
I'm not.
Then
I'm celebrating the Daily Signal turning 10 years old and going independent.
There you go.
right.
There you go. So maybe Ken and you and I can head up to Iowa because there's a bar up there that are celebrating Heterosexual Awesomeness Month.
Oh my goodness, this is Well, I mean, what to each his own. I mean, I think we can. If there are others who want to take the opposite approach to Pride Month,
I think it's fair.
Power to them.
Well, the bar even says, they said, we love our LGBTQ, parishioner, well, whatever they are. They're the patrons.
Parishioners?
I know. They're not exactly parishioners.
Right.
The patrons. But we just want to celebrate, heterosexual month as well.
This bar is so great. Here's some. Come join us all month to celebrate heterosexuals, for without whom none of us would be here. Every Monday in June will be Hetero Male Monday with a free draft beer given to any heterosexual man dressed like a heterosexual male. They also have Wednesdays for heterosexual couples. Thursdays are ladies' night, heterosexual ladies to be precise, with her hetero happy hour. There you go. So anyway, it's at least people are saying something to, I mean, veterans, people who die for this country, they get a day. They get one day. And Pride Month is a month long.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here we are on day 3, and we've already had enough of it.
Right.
Look, I'm sure that I know this will happen in Washington D.C. I'm sure it will happen in plenty of other cities, but we are in store for these theatrics and the extremes that you're about to see, and in some ways, I think that it just goes to open the eyes of so many parents, in particular, about the left's agenda when it comes to trying to sexualize our children, to try to convert them into different gender. I mean, any number of things that go on in today's society that are just so sad and sickening. But it is a reason that we need to be engaged in these culture wars as conservatives. I mean, we have to push back.
We have to let kids know it's okay to be heterosexual. I mean, that's who they're hurting the most. They're not hurting me. They're not going to turn me
No.
Okay. All right. Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal and the Heritage Foundation. Oh my God, there's the music. Rob, in 10 seconds, tell us about you and the Daily Signal.
Yeah, well, check out dailysignal.com. You can find out all about our new status as an independent media organization, and it's great to always be with you and Ken on Mondays. Good to see you with you, Vic.
Thank you, Rob.
Love
we'll talk
Rob.
to you next week. And
man.
thanks again for moving down for us. That's Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal. Good for them, man. Independent. Nobody
That's
to answer.
awesome.
I love that. Just like us. Just like us.
Exactly like us.
100% George Soros free. We'll talk after the news.
As the daughter of an OBGYN, I learned from a young age that no topic is too taboo for discussion at the dinner table. This family-centered, transparent approach to health and wellness that my dad, you may know him as Dr. Randy Tobler, created for my siblings and I, is what we strive to deliver to our patients at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Sammy Tobler-Gregory with Body of Health, where relationships matter. Come learn about healthcare the way it ought to be and schedule your free discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
The headlines remind us daily, the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine, stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop mypatriotsupply.com today. mypatriotsupply.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. An illegal alien is accused of pulling the trigger
New York City police say 2 officers were shot in Queens overnight after stopping a man on a moped driving the wrong way. One shot in his leg, the other his chest. Mayor Eric Adams held up the bulletproof vest that he says saved the officer.
This is a bullet hole. Because of this vest, a young police officer is going home.
NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban says police were investigating a robbery pattern where the thieves used mopeds when they spotted the 19-year-old. The suspect was shot in the ankle. All 3 are recovering. Police say the 19-year-old is from Venezuela, entered the country illegally, and was living in a migrant shelter. Julie Walker, New York.
Hunter Biden's trial on federal firearms charges underway today in Delaware. It's jury selection. Prosecutors say that Biden had legally purchased a gun in October of 2018, falsely swearing on a federal form that he had not used drugs. When it comes to relief from rising gas prices, we may not get any help from the Saudis and their oil-producing allies, including Russia. They're extending deep crude production cuts.
Oil prices have slumped even in the face of turmoil in the Middle East and the start of the summer travel season. The OPEC Plus alliance, made up of members of the producers' cartel and allied countries, including Russia, decided at an online meeting to carry 5.8 billion barrels in production cuts into next year. Higher prices would support Russia in its war against Ukraine.
Correspondent Jeremy House. It's an historic election in Mexico where Claudia Sheinbaum becomes the country's first female president. The former Mexico City mayor ran as the governing party's presidential candidate. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is now down 209 points. The NASDAQ 25 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for...
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your First Alert forecast. Today is a First Alert weather day. Most of us are going to experience dry conditions with partly to mostly sunny skies, but then in the afternoon, watch for what we call pulse thunderstorms. They bubble up quickly, and those storms could produce wind as great as 60 miles per hour, some hail as large as quarters, and even a burst of heavy rainfall, enough to cause localized flooding. So that's why we have the alert day. Temperatures today near 90 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's the one and only Ken Williams over there. Feeling a little better. Still got kind of the Frankie Pantangeli voice, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we've got a big hour here to spend together. Ken's monologue, we're calling it, because Ken was at home bouncing off the walls on Friday. He wanted to talk about it, but he couldn't come in because he had surgery. So it's like, well, when does Ken get to talk about it? 10:25. It's all about Ken. And the East Coast report with Doug Blair from Harris X. We'll ask him some polling questions like, how do the polls look now that this conviction happened?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right. So Hunter Biden is on trial for a gun charge. They're picking the jury. The jury selection is happening right now. Being 2A people, we're kind of, we support gun rights, but responsible gun ownership.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So who's going to help us out with that? Counsel for the Gun Owners of America, Stephen Stamboulieh. Steve, thanks for being with us. I mean, gun ownership is all about responsible gun ownership, right?
Thanks for having me on, Vic. Yes, it is definitely responsible gun ownership, and Hunter Biden is kind of irresponsible.
It's irresponsible, and because I know what the left is going to say, right? Well, you guys like guns. Why can't Hunter like guns? It's a little different story, don't you think?
Well, so here's Gun Owners of America's position on this. We're not a big fan of all of these gun laws. However, they need to be applied evenly, fairly across the board. Hunter should get no, preferential treatment just because he's a Biden in Delaware, right?
Right. And, it's the thing is this, okay? If this were, I hate doing the flip test. I really do. I hate it. But sometimes you got to. If this were Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, the left would be all over this. Oh, he had guns, he had them illegally, throw them in jail. They're always ready to throw conservatives in jail, but they're always so trepidatious about doing anything to a Democrat, especially the president's son.
Yeah, so even if it wasn't any of the Trumps, if this was just you or me, we would get treated
right,
not with the kid gloves that Hunter is going to get during the trial, but we would get it, we would get the law applied to us, whether we liked it or not, versus Hunter, who, I think the judge is going to do a fair job in this case. I've read a lot of the motions, a lot of the orders that have come out. She seems to be just eminently fair, right? But if this were you or I going through this, we would not be getting media attention, anyone coming in on our side saying, oh, these laws are unconstitutional or anything like that. It would just be government doing bad things to us.
So let me ask you, because you have to talk to me like I'm 5, okay? I have zero legal experience. But when you say the judge is being fair, can you expand on that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. So this Judge Murieko was appointed by Donald Trump, and a lot of these cases that deal with firearms, you can kind of tell where the judge is going to base his or her opinions on, given who's appointed the judge. In this case, the orders that have come out have done a good and fair job of applying the law. So, for instance, Hunter raised a Second Amendment challenge to the entire indictment, saying, applying the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, the Bruin case, which came out in 2022. And the judge did a Second Amendment analysis, and said, all of these cases that have come out have said, or have not ruled in the defendant's favor, saying that someone that is addicted to or unlawfully uses a controlled substance has a Second Amendment right. Now, that's not GOA's position. That's the judge's position. Of course, our position is that if, notwithstanding that you use substances, you still have a Second Amendment right, okay? The Fifth Circuit in U.S. v. Daniels found that someone that unlawfully used marijuana still had a Second Amendment right, but Delaware is in the Third Circuit, so Fifth Circuit rulings don't apply in the Third Circuit, okay? So they're all different. All the states and their courts are different.
So he lied on his application, whether, everything you're saying about, people who, smoke marijuana, whatever, are allowed to have a gun, that's fine. But he lied on the application. I think that takes this whole thing a little further, doesn't it?
Well, it does take it further. I mean, wow. Yes, he has 2 false statement charges. One is lying on the form itself, and then the other one is lying on something that the FFL, the Federal Firearms Licensee, would have used to transfer him the gun. So the 2 false statements occur from that. And then the third felony is him being an unlawful user or addicted to narcotics. His main defense right now is, well, I didn't know what addicted means. I didn't know if I was addicted, which is belied by his book and all the interviews that he's done from the time that he actually was in possession of this firearm. So he's either lying then or he's lying now. I'm not sure which one it is, but both of them are not good for him.
It's not the guns, it's the lying. That's my point, I mean, you're a gun owner, obviously. I'm a gun owner. Ken's a gun owner. We're responsible. And I still think it comes down to responsibility.
And also, Stephen.
Well, he definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say he definitely lied on the forms. You know, like he lied on the forms, and you're not allowed to lie, right? You're not allowed to lie to the government, and so he lied on them, and it was a material lie. They would not have 100% that FFL would 100% not have transferred him that firearm had he said, yes, I'm addicted to or an unlawful user of a controlled substance, like flat out, period, end of story. Because that FFL would have then been charged for transferring a firearm to an unlawful user, and they can get in trouble for that, and they can lose their livelihood. And I don't care if you're a Biden or a Trump, the FFL is not going to do that for you.
And the talking points that the media has been spreading about Joe Biden is, well, he's a father that loves his son. His son has addictions. They specifically were saying that that's their marching orders, and they were saying that he has addictions. So that's why his father's by his son's side. Now he doesn't, and now he doesn't have addictions. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Hunter is locked into his father's position of these laws need to be enforced, and Hunter Biden's dad, Joe, is a big anti-gun guy, and so they should apply the law as written to Hunter Biden, and then Joe Biden can pardon him if he wants, I guess, but notwithstanding, they need to apply the law to Hunter. This is the law. This is the law that would be applied to me and you, and this is the law that should be applied to Hunter.
You know, the left's whole thing on gun. By the way, I'm sorry. We're talking to. I'm going to try again here, Steve, since I screwed it up the first time. Stephen Stamboulieh. How's that?
Stephen Stamboulieh.
Steve Stamboulieh. Their whole stance on guns is background checks, right? We want background checks. Well, guess what? Here was a background check that went incredibly bad because he lied on the form. So they can't even get their own side to adhere to the rules that they want to impose.
I mean, you're telling the truth. I mean, this is one of the problems with background checks. Number one, there are a ton of false positives on background checks, and there's also false negatives because, you know, if I go and smoke crack every 15 minutes for a week and then go to buy a gun tomorrow, my background check is not going to show that I smoke crack every 15 minutes for a week,
right?
Because there's nothing to tie it into the background check to show that I've smoked crack every 15 minutes for a week. So, you know, your background check system is imperfect, and perfect as it is, that's what we have, right? So unless he was arrested for drugs or had some kind of conviction for drug use, it's just not going to show up on a background check.
Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling less and less confident now about this trial for Hunter. I just am, you know. I mean, they threw every possible thing, including illegal things, at Donald Trump during his trial, and now I feel like he's going to get the kid gloves, the baby treatment.
Well, my biggest problem with the whole thing is look what they did with Donald Trump for a misdemeanor, okay? And now they're going to turn around and say, "Oh no, Hunter Biden, he's okay.
Right.
He didn't do anything wrong." And that's going to show Americans exactly where our justice system is in the lawfare.
All right, Steve, tell us a little bit before we close up here on Gun Owners of America, how we find out about it, how we help, how we volunteer, things like that, how we donate. Tell us a little bit about Gun Owners of America.
Sure. Gun Owners of America is really the only no compromise gun group in the United States. We have done a tremendous amount of litigation recently to stop ATF's abuses of the American public through a number of things. You know, ATF reclassified pistol braces and said, well, if you have a pistol brace on an AR-15, it's now a short barrel rifle and you're going to go to jail. We've tried to stop the zero tolerance ATF policy against FFLs, the federal firearm licensees, for shutting down FFLs for making innocent paperwork mistakes. Everybody makes paperwork mistakes, even the ATF, but they try to seek to shut down FFLs and infringe on Americans' access to purchase guns. You should read more about them at gunowners.org. If you go to the website www.gunowners.org, you can read about all their cases, read about what they're doing, and it also, if you click on join, then you can see how to join Gun Owners of America and become part of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely, and we need a solution. Stephen Stamboulieh, thanks, man, for being with us, counsel for the Gun Owners of America. Let's talk again as this trial starts to wind down, okay?
Sounds good, Vic. I appreciate it.
You bet. Our pleasure. I just, Ken, I was so, they're going to fry Hunter. They're going to get him. And now I don't feel like they're going to. I feel like this whole thing is just going to go away. And you know what, Ken? This is hard for me to say, okay? There are people who don't like Donald Trump's whatever attitude, the way he talks, brashness, whatever. But his policies were pretty good, right?
No, they're amazing. Yeah.
So when you have a situation that they're throwing everything they possibly can at him, and then I'm a gun owner, you're a gun owner, you followed all the right steps. That's the point. Not owning the gun. It's not the gun. It's the way you applied for the gun, which was illegal. But I feel like he's just going to skate on this. I really do.
Well, this is further proof that we have a two-tier justice system. And if I can get it out next break, I'm going to actually talk a little bit about our system as it stands right now.
So what about that? You know, I mean, are we going to fight back? And I use fight, take fight any way you want. I don't care how you take it.
It's down to right now, everybody in America who is on conservative or in the middle, anywhere in independence, anybody on near the right side, they're sitting and waiting. They're saying, okay, Republicans, legislature, what are you going to do?
Do something.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What is it that you're going to do to put forward to stop this?
I think there's only one solution to this. That's to send my wife to Washington and let her yell at these
I
guys.
agree. I totally agree with
What are
that.
you going to do? You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything. At least she'll be yelling at them and not me.
Right.
Okay. So Dr. Fauci is on Capitol Hill right now, and he's testifying in front of a House committee. Can we hear just a little bit of it? I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, maybe
about the voucher.
And the actual fact may be that at some time working on that, maybe they used some of our money to get started. Maybe they didn't. But a group of scientists getting together might very well at Wuhan have said, hey, let's see what happens if we go over here and do this. Not that NIH funded it, but they on their own went off and did something. Isn't that accurate? Isn't that possible?
Well, I actually would want to say that one thing we should put out on the table, that you were talking about $120,000 a year grant in a $6 billion budget. So, I mean, if they were going to do something on the side, they have plenty of other money to do it. They wouldn't necessarily have to use a $120,000 NIH grant to do it.
And I appreciate that because it means something could happen. I'm glad you kept an open mind. I would ask this one final thing, though. Do you think they could have done it without the humanized mice that we gave them?
Yeah, could have done what, sir?
Could they have done any other research with the humanized mice that we gave them? Would they be successful? China didn't have the humanized mice before we gave them to Wuhan. Isn't it accurate that they might have been able to do extra stuff with our mice?
Sorry, sir. That's a hypothetical that I can't really answer what they could.
But you can't say it couldn't have happened.
So what's going to happen, Ken? That's what my wife's going to say to me tonight. What's going to happen? You know, he lied. He made up COVID guidelines like the 6 feet thing.
He made it all up.
There was I am the science. Okay, that
Somebody said that?
Senator Paul, I'm the science, and science says 6 feet apart. That was wrong.
And what did it do to our children? The formative years of these kids, they actually have proof, documentation that these children that went through the whole thing with masks on had a little bit of a they I don't want to say retarded. Their identification and social skills of facial expression were not as good as they could have been had they not had the masks on when they were in class.
It means everything, right? I remember during that whole mask thing, I was talking to this guy, and it was, I had my mask. My wife got me a Rolling Stones tongue one, so I'm wearing it, and the kid's son comes out and he goes, "Oh, I like your mask. Here's my mask." It's like, well, where has that conversation gone? Here's my G.I. Joe. You like your G.I. Joe? That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I like your mask. Here's my mask. And none of it was backed in science at all. Nothing in anything Dr. Fauci said.
You remind me of this. Do you remember when we were kids and some kid got sick and the parents would take the kids and just send them all over there?
Yeah.
Let everybody get sick.
Yes.
Let's let everybody get sick now.
Parties.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there were other things too. And your parents would let you, roll around on the ground and eat dirt,
right.
And things like that. And that doesn't happen today. None of this stuff happens today. And I think it's hurting the children in the future.
It is. All right. So what do you think?
I think, yeah.
Oh, Ken says, let's check the chat box. Let's do it. We got some problems here. We have inter-chat box problems going on.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. 40 grand battery starts us today with, I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. No fair elections.
No peace.
No fair elections.
No peace. But then that story does it later.
Right. But then he says, ha, beat you. No, it's like a race to get the Pledge of Allegiance into the chat
That's
box.
funny.
And then he called him a thunder stealer.
That's even better.
Now, Ken, what makes you think the New York City appeals court isn't just as corrupt as the previous court? I agree with that.
I totally agree with that. That's why I asked Karoline.
And if it gets up to the Supreme Court, maybe cooler heads will prevail. Or maybe not. Okay. Too late, Ed. I beat you. It's so funny. Oh, my God. So funny. 40 grand. Don't you make me cuss on this here Rumble chat. They're going at it, Ken. They're going at it. Goat Lady Kibbs is just laughing at that. Fauci has talked himself into a corner like he always does. And he got away with perjury. And we have to stop the perjury thing on the left, okay?
Yeah.
Cubis says, I keep my record player on at the gasoline station. Everybody said, ha ha, like I just said.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Keep it on at night. Because, when you want to know the news, check the words to Freebird.
Yeah.
Sorry, late, served at our church food party again. Oh, no excuses, Ed. No excuses. Get in here and do the Pledge of Allegiance. The civil rights advances of the 60s and 70s never happened. It helped that lib teachers probably don't teach proper history. We know that's a fact, that these kids are being taught history in a weird way.
Yeah.
Except in 1968 when they had a horrible convention and refused to repeat it. Not for nothing, Ken. But the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, the Chicago 7 and all that. Remember all the riots and Abby Hoffman and all that kind of stuff? That could happen all over again.
People in Chicago are pissed. They're really angry at the Democrat Party.
Okay. Over to Facebook we go. Amy says, good morning, fellow freedom fighters.
That's right.
We're freedom lovers, but you know what? We got to be more. We got to be freedom fighters. Good morning, Vic Heads, GmbH, America. They are destroying our country, our country's constitution. It's time to stand up and let it happen. Good morning. Good Monday morning from Tom. Barry says, looking forward to Ken's manifesto. And then Barry also says, hey, Maxine Waters, that wig, that's crap.
That's crap.
All right, listen, when we get back, I gave Ken some homework, You accepted.
Yeah.
So Ken spent Friday pacing back and forth, went outside and paced on the new deck. I want to talk about this. I got nobody to talk to about this. So I said, you're right, Ken. So coming up next, first of all, we're going to celebrate a very special anniversary. And then Ken's monologue on what happened to Donald Trump at that trial. That's all coming up on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
The prominent leaders are leaders. Breathe oxygen under the rocks it's hiding in.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
So let's talk about taxes here for a quick moment. Are taxes going down, staying the same, or going up? Most people think they're likely to increase. And, if the government gets their way, if the government really truly got their way, you'd have to work for nothing. You'd have to work and then give all your money to the government. Because that's, I think, how they do it in communist countries. And that's where we're on our way to. Unless you call people like Chris Cooper at Serenity Wealth Management. Okay, so how can taxes going up impact your financial future? Okay, when you pass away, you're going to be leaving your money to one of three things: the government, the medical or care community, or your children. Okay, why don't we pick our children on who we want to give our money to after we go? Find out how you can reduce the government's partnership in your future. You don't want their partnership in your future. And who's going to help you with that? Chris Cooper at Serenity Wealth Management. He's got a new book he's going to make no money on. He needs to learn how to make money. We got to teach him how to make money. You sell a book. You don't give it away. All right, he gives it away. You can get his free book called The New Holistic Retirement. SerenityNowTax.com is how you get it. SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now! It's Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now!
I think
think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point.
Now that we're entertaining the very real possibility that the outlaw Donald Trump will be our next president, I think it's time we have a meaningful conversation about how to address him properly. Many on the left have helpfully offered the tried and true convicted felon. Billionaire Alex Soros, whose father has helped elect numerous progressive district attorneys, suggests referring to Trump as such at every opportunity. We can be certain that Joe Biden and his campaign will do just that. Isn't it interesting that those who seem to push the hardest for criminal justice reform and prosecutorial leniency are advocating so forcefully for such a derogatory label? It's almost as if their advocacy is driven by politics rather than the pursuit of justice. Aren't these the same folks, or at least their kindred spirits, who recently passed legislation in Illinois relabeling offenders as justice-impacted individuals? By their logic, should we not consider referring to Trump instead as justice-impacted individual number 47? Or does he not qualify for some reason?
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Of all days for Ken Williams to miss a show, he missed Friday. We're going to let him loose. Anything he wants to say about the Trump trial or anything he wants to say at all, Monday. Don't miss it.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks.
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
That is General Dwight David Eisenhower. 1944. He was elected in 1952 as president, but he was the leader of the Allied forces in June 6th, 1944. 80 years ago today, Ken.
Wow.
80 years ago today, the greatest generation stormed the beach at Normandy, Omaha Beach. It was a bloodbath. I mean, you've all seen the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Guys who way braver, have more courage than I could ever have in 1,000 years. And the beginning of winning World War II. And something I want to say, too, about the very end there when he talks about the Almighty God. That's the way we used to talk. That's the way our presidents used to talk about Almighty God.
That's the way Donald Trump talks.
Right, but then he gets stuff for it.
Yeah.
You know? It's a different world. It's a different country. Donald Trump knows that country. He knows what we can do, what we're capable of in this country. And boy, if the D-Day invasion wasn't an example of that. So I just wanted to let you know that 80 years ago today, the bravest people in the entire world stormed the beach at Normandy, and we won World War II, and that was general at the time. I want to point that out because he wasn't president yet. He was just the general and the leader of the Allied forces. So that happened 80 years ago today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ken Williams, pace the floor, pace the deck all weekend long. I want to talk about this Trump thing. Well, Ken, now's your time. Turn my mic off, and you just go.
Yeah, Vic, I'll tell you, you're right, though, when you say that I was pacing. I was so beside myself when it came out. We said that we thought it was going to happen, but when it actually did happen in the United States of America, I just sat there, and so many things were going through my head. So many, in fact, Vic, that I had to write it all down, and then I cut out a ton of stuff. So after my surgery, I was thinking about it before the surgery, and I went home, opened my computer, and found out that Donald Trump, our former president of the United States, now private citizen, and this is most importantly, the major and primary opponent to the current president has been convicted on 34 felonies. My first thought was anger, of course, because looking at all the evidence of all the players involved in their backgrounds, I thought, surely, no way, in our justice system we have in America, at the end of the day, the facts will come out and the truth will be exposed about the lawfare being used in this particular case anyway. I thought the tactics of Fani Willis, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, they were all running their candidacies on the platform that Trump should be thrown in jail. I thought all this stuff would come out. Instead, President Trump was convicted on a state misdemeanor attached to a bogus federal case. I got the sick feeling in my stomach, Vic. I mean, it was, the surgery, but I think it was so much more of that. The other part of it was the realization that we no longer live in a country of laws. I know it sounds strong, but it's the way I feel. We no longer live in a country that holds our Constitution in the highest regard. There were so many rights of Donald Trump that were trampled on by Judge Merchan. There were so many that they announced. I realized at that moment that we now live in a country where a sitting president can imprison his opponents. Now listen to that. There are other countries in South America right now that are saying, we do not do this in our country. This is the first time in my life that I've ever heard another country, a third world country, say that they do something. They don't do something, and we do it. That just upsets me so much. The Biden family is the most corrupt first family in American history, primarily because they're getting away with everything Biden did from day one, has been following the instruction of Barack Obama to continue to fundamentally change the United States to become the second-tier country that is more aligned with other nations around the world than even the people that live in this country. Nobody is going to convince me otherwise. This was and is the primary goal of Obama and all of the many people behind the scenes here, tearing this country apart. These left-wing radicals thrive on division, Vic. We've talked about this. The left wing thrives on division. If they don't have it, they fall. Think about it. On day one, Biden signs 93 executive orders tearing apart America's energy independence. Why? Is this a plan to create a brave new America that is green and thriving under all new energy technology that we have? No. This can't be the reason, because there is no technology available that it's just not there. It wouldn't support it. And yet we've spent over $1 trillion of our tax money toward green initiatives. Over the last 8 years, we've seen the left become more radicalized and militant while accusing conservatives of being the extremists. These labels are important now. Words related, repeated enough, become truth, and that truth becomes fact. Recently, Alex Soros, now check this out. He sent out the order for the media to keep repeating that Donald Trump is a convicted criminal. Why? Because it's true? No. Because it causes doubt and division among Americans. Again, the radical left thrives on division. We used to be able to just live our lives trusting that we didn't have to keep track of what the government was doing. We didn't have to do that. We could simply go on and move on with our lives, do whatever we wanted. And whenever we wanted to, we could just peek into the political system maybe every couple of years to see how things were going. Those days are gone. Or you know what? Maybe they never were. Maybe this is the way that the left had planned to take over every facet of our lives from the beginning. We now live in an era where there are no longer lines separating culture, lifestyles, ideology, and politics. It's all about politics now, baby. The left globalists have made it impossible to separate these various parts of our lives. We no longer live in a country that holds firmly to the Constitution of the United States. The Biden administration has completely ignored the separation of powers between the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. He's done it. Biden, and I should say Obama too, ignored the Supreme Court ruling against student loan reimbursement. Biden was able to unilaterally impose giving billions of our taxpayer dollars to people for the sole purpose of buying the votes of young American voters. This one act by Biden minimized both the Supreme Court and the legislative branches of our government. This was also a big FU to the American people who paid off their student loans and those who chose not to go to college because it was too expensive. Because now, hey, everybody, guess what? We're all on the hook for it, for millions of other people's student loans. I think this verdict in New York against President Trump has hit me in a way to reevaluate everything that I've ever known about America. And it's sad. It hurts. It's sad. But I think it's a good thing as well. Our Constitution is being ripped apart by the fascist left. There are no longer just words. We have examples of this happening. We can talk about the border and the replacement of the Democrat Party's new constituency that they have. We can talk about the relationship between the Biden-Obama administration and China. Or how about the relationships with the WHO or WEF and every other globalist organization, including and especially the UN. They, by the way, need to be packing. We should not be even relating to the UN any longer. 16 years ago, Barack Obama started flooding the courts with left-wing judges, and we are seeing the fruits of his labor today. Meanwhile, Biden recently bragged about the over 200 diverse new judges installed by his administration. I know that I sound very pessimistic right now about the future, but we really need to identify what is actually happening before we can fight it. We need to be strong in supporting President Trump, because it's not just about Trump. It's about what happens. What happens if we don't support him? The media is going to keep pushing the Soros-approved message that is, it's over for Trump because he is a unanimously convicted felon on all 34 counts against him. And these are important words to remember, because every time you hear it, you need to push back on it. We'll be hearing these words a lot heading to the election. Unanimity, an important word, because it's saying that everybody voted against Trump. And so you should too. There are going to be people who are just beginning to get the message, because that's when people start paying attention as we near the election. The media will need to keep reminding them that President Trump was not convicted by a jury of his peers. This was a trial that would have never happened to anyone not running for president. They easily would have moved this case to another city and state instead of the deep blue city of New York and the deep blue state of New York. It would be easy to turn our backs on President Trump, but the left is no longer about compromise, everybody. If they win, we will all face the same type of judgment that we see going on against Trump right now. And I'm not taught, you can see it in everyday life. They can do things, regulations behind the scenes, digital currency, everything. I know this sounds impossible and it won't happen in America, but how many things have we seen over the last 3.5 years that have surprised and shocked us about the Biden-Obama administration? Parents labeled domestic terrorists. White men are the greatest threat to America. Maxine Waters just said this yesterday about MAGA supporters. Illegal aliens voting in elections. You know, Chuck Schumer wants to put all illegal aliens, give them a path to citizenship by putting them in our military, training them up, arming them, and saying, now you don't have any obligations to the United States, of course, but you are now an American citizen. Stay strong. We really need to stand with President Trump, you guys, or there will be nothing left to stand for. If America falls, there is nowhere else in the world to go to be free, nowhere else.
Ken, that was so good. I'm going to go home. I'm going to leave. You finish the show. That was great, Ken. That was great. I mean, that was from the heart. And he waited 3 days to say it, and I was hanging on every single word. I would like you to do me a second favor, if you don't mind. And I'm a great big bully. If you could take that segment and put it up on Facebook as part of our podcast, I'd appreciate it. All right. All right. Douglas Blair from Harris X. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
As President Lincoln said,
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You're the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
You might not be able to afford rent and groceries, but the Biden administration is spending your tax dollars on the highest priority, electric school buses. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Gold demand is hitting record highs, but supply may not keep up. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your retirement savings from a chaotic world. To learn how to diversify your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, text the word SHELTER to 989898 for a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Government waste and tax dollar abuse is nothing new in D.C., but under the Biden-Harris administration, it's never been more apparent. Here's another one. The Biden administration has committed $900 million in federal grants to help school districts move to electric school buses. This nearly $1 billion of your tax dollars will go to help 530 school districts decarbonize their bus fleets. This is all coming, mind you, as youth literacy rates are tanking. In fact, based on national testing results, we know that 2/3 of fourth grade students are unable to to read proficiently. This is all such a waste and such a joke. The American education system is going down the tubes, and your president and your vice president are more concerned with funding green school buses on your dime. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
studentaid.gov/save.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
LA woman from the Doors used to make my friend Sal drive too fast.
Really?
Something about this song made him drive fast.
I can see that.
Yeah. Ken, again, great job on that. We'll talk more about that in a second.
Thanks for letting me do that, Vic.
Yeah, man. No, I don't let you do anything. You're the boss. June 27th, the debate. I guess the debate will be in cell block number 9 on Rikers Island. Joe Biden and Donald Trump will debate that night. That's what's planned now anyway. See, that was probably the plan, right? If we throw Trump in jail, he won't be able to debate. And then you don't have to go up against him and look like a complete idiot, Mr. Biden. So, assuming there'll be a debate, we'll have a presidential debate watch party. Where? At Johnny's Hideout, you bet. We had our second anniversary party there. Great place. Maybe you can go out and have yourself a nice Thunder Stealer. That's Red Bull and vodka. And and we'll watch the debate. We'll talk about it. It'll be a fun night. And please plan on spending the night with us June 27th at Johnny's Hideout for the presidential debate party. Watch party. Okay. A lot of people talking about Ken's monologue. I'm glad. Gene said, I agree with Ken Williams 100%. Amy says, mic drop. Well done, Ken. Preach it. Well said, Ken. Prayers for our country. From Shelley. She's the, I believe she's the rural mail carrier. And Paul said, Thunder Stealer kicking ass again. Well, should I just go home?
No, no, don't.
I couldn't have done that.
Thank you, everybody. I really
Wait, I'm not
appreciate
done. I'm not done. Susie says, bravo, Ken. Well said. Say it, Ken. Biden and the left. Amen. But people loved your monologue. And I knew it would be great. That's why I suggested we do it.
And listener Donna's on the line.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Don, how are you?
Donna, sorry. Darn it. Donna, how are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Hey. How you doing?
How you doing?
Very nicely done, Donna.
I just wanted to share, of course, what Ken said was great. I love both you and Ken and Vic, both of you, your show. What I wanted to say, it's very strange. I just read this morning in my Bible readings, and it talks about the contrast in the two kingdoms in Israel. And one had bad leadership, a king that didn't follow God. And then the other had, it was Judah, that portion, that did follow God. But it talks about in Israel, the ungodly king. None of those kings brought moral enlightenment to an idolatrous nation. Civil war continued to divide God's people. It's a sober reminder God's people will, through the ages, face division and strife when they forsake their God. I think it's important just to say we need to, as a country, turn our hearts and minds back to the Lord and follow.
Yep.
And we would have the unity and everything that people desire. Another thing I wanted to add, I have tried to get some different things put in our local paper and letters to the editor. They do fact checking, which I find funny because they're opinion pieces.
Right.
I can understand checking facts that are news you're throwing out there, but not your opinion. But I've been told I'm too preachy. I've been told it's not fair to claim that, like, the transgender surgeries and that, to question the motives of the doctors that are providing those surgeries or the medications.
Wow.
You know, to me, it's a profit thing more so than caring for these poor kids that are confused.
Yep.
So I just,
you know what, Donna?
I think we need to turn back to God.
Yep, I completely
Bottom
agree.
line, yeah.
Have we ever spoke before?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
I've called a couple times.
Yeah.
I
That's
appreciate.
how I know that how you do it.
Right, how you do. So we appreciate calling. I know you said you love me and Ken, but you love me more, right? Right?
Well,
Come on.
No comment.
All right, whatever.
We love you,
I
Donna.
like you both.
Great thoughts. Great thoughts. Ken did a bang-up job on that. That's one of those things that it should say, Ken Williams did an op-ed piece for the New York Times today. You know what I mean? That's how good it was, Ken. You don't think you understand it. Donna, thank you so
But
much.
It wouldn't be. Oh, I just was going to say that sort of op-ed probably wouldn't be in there. But anyway,
right.
We know the truth.
It'll be on here.
God's opening eyes, I hope.
Yep. All right, Donna, thanks again. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
This just in. For the latest news from the DC swamp and beyond, this is the Vic Porcelli Show East Coast Report with Douglas Blair on Newstalk STL.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Doug Blair, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, baby?
Doing great, Vic. But again, I missed this incredible monologue, but I'm very excited to see the Ken Williams show coming out very soon.
Yeah,
That ain't going to happen.
I'll be putting in my resignation probably this Friday. It'll be the Ken Williams
I
show.
will say this, that we are inseparable, Doug. So there you go.
Now, we're going to we're definitely going to have that up. If you want to go look wherever you get your podcasts, you'll be able to hear Ken's podcast, his monologue, and I knew it would be. I knew it was a good idea.
Thanks, Vic.
This is my show, not yours.
Really awaiting
That's
hearing it.
That's exactly right.
All right, Doug. So I got some questions for you. I'm sure Harris X has done some polling since the conviction. What can you tell me?
You are correct. Harris X actually has done some polling, and it actually does go against what a lot of the Democrats are hoping for, right? Most Americans don't care. Most Americans see this as either politically motivated or they see this as not particularly influential on their vote. I think that this is sort of a show that Democrats are desperate to try and pin Trump on something, right? Like, again, the instructions that were given to the jury sort of belay that, right? Where they didn't say, well, you have to pick a specific crime. You just have to say that something untoward happened, and then we'll just run with that, right? So Americans are seeing past this Democratic smokescreen, and they're basically saying this isn't going to change their vote.
Anybody who is, you know what, Doug, you do have to go back and you have to listen to Ken's monologue, because do you think in your wildest dreams that that Ken Williams has any less of affection for the policies of Donald Trump than before the conviction? He's not alone, right?
Right. And I think that also indicates, too, that this is a failure from the Democrats and the Biden administration to make this race about anything other than Joe Biden's failures, because it's the policies that people are remembering, not necessarily the man. We've had this discussion multiple times, Vic, where we said Donald Trump sometimes has personal and moral failings that people look at and say, I'm not a huge fan of that, like the tweets or whatever. But they also look at the policy and they say, well, there was more money in my pocket, the border was closed, and I felt safer abroad. And that's not something that Joe Biden can claim. Joe Biden can claim that there are moral failings on the Trump administration, fine, whatever. But, the policy is undisputably better 4 years ago.
No doubt about that. When this verdict came out, Doug, I really thought, I'm trying to look at numbers, percentages, right? Let's say 90% let's say 95% of people voted for Trump in New York City, which I don't think it's that high. I don't care what anybody says. Not one juror fought for at least a mistrial. Not one. Doesn't that seem weird to you, just statistically?
It does seem a little bit weird. And again, I'm not perfectly willing to say, like, oh, there was something untoward here. I do think that it does seem a little odd. Although, to your point, I do think we're starting to see a shift in a lot of the demographics that would have been Democratic that are now becoming more Republican. I can give you some anecdotal evidence from here in the swamp. Me and some friends were out on a boat on the Potomac River on Saturday, and we were driving around and we were boating around with this massive Trump 2024 flag.
All right.
And this is in Washington, D.C., the heart of scum and villainy, in the words of Han Solo. And people were cheering. People were like super engaged with us. They really wanted to see Trump in charge again.
Yeah. I just, we're not supposed to go back. When I say we're not supposed to, not that anybody's ever told us to say or do or what not to say on the show or on the station, but you're not supposed to go back and relitigate 2020, right? And I've always believed you have to go back and look at the past to be able to fix the future, right? So now in Arizona, there's I'll send it to you tomorrow. We'll play it. They have proof that Arizona was rigged, and that's what cost Donald Trump the 2020 election. Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Arizona twins?
Oh, yeah.
Brett Baer and Martha, whatever her name is.
McCallum,
thanks. But, it's like if things were free and fair for real, then the country wouldn't look like what it looks like now.
I totally agree. And again, I think to go back to this trial, one of the things that we also found with our polling that you guys might find really interesting is one of the reasons this isn't sticking is because while Biden seems to want to think or try to claim that to Americans that Donald Trump is the criminal, they also think he's a criminal. We found that almost 70% of respondents said that Biden was involved with his son Hunter and that Hunter should be going to jail over these allegations of corruption in Ukraine and China. Oh, and the gun thing, of course, which we're going to trial to today. So, I mean, this is, I think, the problem here. If this was fair, if this was actually a non-two-tiered system of justice, things would be different. I think Trump would be sitting pretty in the Oval Office right now. But the problem is we're not living in that, America right now, where there's not two tiers. There's not a Republican standard and a Democratic standard, where the Democratic standard is do whatever you want, get away with it. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You've got a D next to your name. You could literally commit murder and get off scot-free.
So the sentencing is July 11th, coincidentally, just a few days before the Republican National Convention. Doug, I get a little crazy in here. I say some things that maybe I have no proof of, but what a web of conspiracy and collusion that must have gone back 5 or 6 years. And they were ready for everything. Okay, let's put them on trial. Let's have a kangaroo court, definitely convict them. And then you know what? We'll sentence them a few days before the convention. I think they thought about this a long time ago.
I completely agree with you. But to Vic, to maybe make you feel a little bit better, our polling still indicates that even with all of this planning and collusion, and even with all of this background where the Democrats have stacked the deck against Trump, he still looks like he's going to win. He's ahead in almost every single swing state that we have polling for at the national level. He's about 2 points ahead. And this is following the conviction, right? This is still after all of this has happened. He's still beating Biden. That is the thing I think is the most indicative of how sick people are of the Democratic mismanagement of the country. All of this stuff that they put against him, like you were talking about, and it doesn't seem to matter. He still looks like he's going to win. God, I hope so. I mean, for the country's sake, not for my sake.
Yep.
I'll be dead soon. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, it matters to the future, my kids, their future. All right. Douglas Blair from Harris X. Douglas Clay Bear. Wow. I just changed your name completely. Clay Bear. Douglas K. Blair on Twitter and at Harris _X_. There's too many underscores there, Doug. Come on, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk next week.
Bye, Clay Bear.
It's so important. The polls they're doing are so important, Ken. They're so important, They really are. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ken. Thanks for that monologue. So have a good time doing the show tomorrow. I'll be home.
No, you won't be.
No, whatever. Hey, listen, thanks so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Dan Bongino is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 101.9. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Hello, this is Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. If you are looking for a local family-owned jewelry store, come in and meet the Newsteaders Fine Jewelry family, a St. Louis tradition for over 60 years. Let us introduce you to unique and one-of-a-kind pieces. While here, we'd be happy to examine and professionally clean your jewelry at no charge. If it does need some maintenance, we can give you an estimate right then, and all of our repairs are done on site. Visit us at wowdiamonds.com.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden is expressing support for his son, Hunter, who's on trial in Delaware. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
As jury selection got underway in Hunter Biden's federal firearms case, the president said he has boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength. In a statement, he said he and the First Lady are so proud of the man he is today. In a show of support, Jill Biden was seated in the front row of the courtroom. Hunter Biden has been charged in Delaware with 3 felonies stemming from a 2018 gun purchase. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, at least 2 Texas border mayors are headed to Washington on Tuesday when President Biden is expected to announce new restrictions for migrants seeking asylum at the U.S. southern border. Jackie Quinn has more.
The president is said to be finalizing an executive order that could shut off asylum applications and automatically deny entry if the number of migrants per day exceeds a new threshold. Biden critic House Speaker Mike Johnson says,
too little, too late.
On Fox News Sunday, Johnson says Republicans have been pounding the White House over a flood of migrants once Donald Trump's border restrictions were lifted in 2021.
They did it intentionally, and it has had catastrophic effects upon our country that we'll be living with for decades to come.
I'm Jackie Quinn.
Police investigating a deadly shooting at a street party in Akron over the weekend think at least one person opened fire on the crowd from a vehicle, killing one person and wounding 24 others. No suspects identified, yet officials are calling on witnesses to come forward with information. Stocks are mixed. The Dow is down 246 points, but the NASDAQ ahead 55. More at townhall.com.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your First Alert forecast. Today is a First Alert weather day. Most of us are going to experience dry conditions with partly to mostly sunny skies, but then in the afternoon, watch for what we call pulse thunderstorms. They bubble up quickly, and those storms could produce wind as great as 60 miles per hour, some hail as large as quarters, and even a burst of heavy rainfall, enough to cause localized flooding. So that's why we have the alert day. Temperatures today near 90 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264
That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
A gentle breeze blows across your face as you take a refreshing sip of water, appreciating the stillness of another morning fishing on the lake. The distant gurgle of a stream reminds you of days spent playing in the creek, the cool, clear water rushing between your toes. You love this time with nature, the feeling of putting everything on hold to connect with the world around you. Now, imagine it's all gone. No fish, no lake, no water. One of life's most vital resources, irreplaceably depleted. Time is running out to protect fresh water, and without our love, it can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our fresh water. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it's absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Oh my gosh, man, fireworks. Flamethrowers at this hearing with Fauci going on right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene just tore him to pieces. And, you know, it was kind of, it was tragic that this question had to be asked and that the answer is so obvious. But the sum of it is Fauci is obviously spinning the entire time. Fauci's an expert at the euphemisms game. You think he'd be an expert at things like virology and medicine and stuff, but he's actually better at this verbal sparring than I think people give him credit for. Trust me, that is not a compliment. And if you took it as such, you're not paying attention. So he's up there, and Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't want to call him doctor. I wouldn't call him doctor either. Why would you call him doctor? I wouldn't call him doctor. He hasn't earned any. You've earned nothing. I owe you nothing, Fauci. I owe Fauci zero. He got paid by me and you an exorbitant amount of money to screw over the American public, manipulate, lie, screw us over, and we're supposed to, listen, there's some decorum here. You're to call him, I'll call him whatever I want. Don't tell me how to talk. So Marjorie Taylor Greene don't want to call him doctor. So was it Raskin? It's just what we've come to. Yeah, it is. And you did it, scumbags. You did it on the left. Yeah, you did this. Whether you go back to last Thursday, if you're watching on Rumble, you probably see the shirt. 5/30/2024, flags upside down for a reason. Whether it's last Thursday and the fake conviction and the fake trial of Donald Trump, or the revelation that Dr. Fauci and his team were avoiding FOIA requests, covering up information, and lying to the American public while you were paying them all an exorbitant amount of money. How dare you, as a Democrat, ask the dumb, almost rhetorical question at this point? Is this what we've come to? No, it's not what we've come to. It's what you drew us into. We didn't ask for this. Do you even understand what conservatism is about? It's about conserving the good parts of the United States, understanding we've had a partially troubled past, but we're a great country, and getting rid of the bad stuff. The essence of conservatism is we respect everyone's civil liberties. And by civil liberties, we mean their economic liberty, their healthcare liberty, their educational choices, and their liberty there. Liberty's a real thing. It's not a bumper sticker. And you respect ours. The essence of it is leave me the hell alone and I'll leave you alone. We'll all agree on a basic set of laws, some contracts, interstate roads. a functioning legal system and a military, and stay out of my way. That's not you dipwads on the left. You got to keep poking the bear. Your kids are going to be told how to have sex in 3rd grade. We're going to tell your boy he's a girl, and then we're going to hide it from the parents. We're going to investigate your president, spy on your president, try him on 62 million fake charges, run up the national debt, steal your health care choices, send your kids to crap schools, steal your money, steal your wealth, tax you into oblivion. You can't leave us. We don't want anything to do with you idiots. Matter of fact, the biggest thing about New York, its most attractive feature, is freaking escaping it. No, who would have thought the Snake Plissken Escape from New York movie and Escape from LA? Who would have thought that was a documentary? We want nothing to do with you. We don't want you here. We don't want anything to do with you. Nobody wants you. Listen to me. No one wants you. Oh, you guys will take our money. We moved. No, we don't want you. I live in Florida. Don't come here with your money, your stupid ideas, your dumbass political ideology. We don't want you. Your little lawn gnome god and Dr. Fauci and your Twinkies god and Alvin Bragg, you live in that state where these are your messianic figures. We don't want anything to do with them. Jamie Raskin asking the question at this Fauci hearing, is this what we've come to? Yeah. Yeah, bro, it is. Because you brought us here. You think we wanted this? I just told you we just want to be left alone. Ever hear the Motley Crue song, Girl, Don't Go Away? Don't go away, mad, just go away. Just go away. Mad or other way, just go. We don't want you. You want us around. We don't want you around. You're lazy bums. You don't even work. You want to steal other people's money. We don't want you. Nobody wants you losers around. You got to hear them. And I'll cover this at all of it, of course, at length tomorrow. But this Fauci hearing right now is no different than the Star Chamber trial that went down on Thursday with Donald Trump. It's no different. It's indicative of what the left wants. Discretionary outcomes, the unraveling of law and order, collective power at the top, and don't question them. You got to see the left at this hearing with Fauci. It is, the embarrassment is, it's cringeworthy. They were asking him about gain of function. You got to hear the word games. The Democrats are like, well, we're not saying that this thing may not have come from a lab. We're just saying there's multiple definitions of the term gain of function, and various definitions could be used to describe the money procedure that made from the NAID, the money over to the Wuhan lab, and it wasn't exactly the exact 3 codon chain that made it into there. No one asked the question, did we pay an organization working with the Wuhan lab? Yes. Okay, that's it. Shut the pie hole. Soup cooler, shut it. Take the freaking cotton out of your ears, stick it in your mouth. That's the only thing I needed to hear. The Wuhan lab where this thing originated from, everybody knows it. Taxpayer money was laundered there to organizations. Yes or no? Yeah, okay. Shut your mouth. I'm not really interested in anything else. This is what they do. And the fallout continues to grow from last Thursday. And the fake conviction. Do not, under any circumstances, accept any of this. Any of this. This is not real. Donald Trump is not a convicted felon. Any news outlet that refers to him as a convicted felon, turn it off immediately. This is fake. It's not real. None of this is real. So it's like referring to freedom activists in the 1980s Soviet Union as convicted felons. By the way, I'm voting for the outlaw. I don't know about you, but when the system isn't based in law, then the outlaw is the only way to go, right? The fallout continues to grow, ladies and gentlemen, and the cope is obvious. It is a Monday, and you probably wonder why it's a weekend update. Folks, I got to tell you, I was really preoccupied this weekend. I had a lot going on. This thing Thursday, it was weird when this verdict came down. I know this sounds crazy given that I do this for a living. You're probably thinking, I got to tell you, as my brothers and sisters out there, I was shocked. I really was. You're like, why were you shocked? It's a tyrannical justice system in New York with a left-wing jury, left-wing judge's daughter, left-wing AG, left-wing state, left-wing city, left-wing county, left-wing ADA. I don't know, folks. Maybe my emotional side took over and I thought there's still some sensible people. There's got to be one person. Jim, you're nodding your head. Did you think the same thing? I thought there's got to be one. I was like, this is going to be one. Like 11 of them will probably be like, Donald Trump, hang him, whatever. But I thought there's got to be one person who's like, you know what, guys, I'm just not comfortable with this. I'm thinking there's one guy who's just not crazy. I'm not saying he's even a Trump guy who goes, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but this all sounds fabricated to me. And I'm talking as like a left-wing lunatic who's even a little bit sane. And he goes, I don't even like Donald Trump. And I'm not saying he didn't do something wrong. I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with it. I thought, and maybe it's me, man. Again, maybe it's not naivete. I know I even said to you, like, this guy, the chances are this guy's going to be guilty. I don't know. I just an emotional side of me that just loves this country. And I thought, there's got to be one. And I sat there in really stunned disbelief. That's why Friday's show, I think we set the microphones on fire. Between the podcast and this, there were probably millions of people here. It's one of my most listened to shows ever. But the weekend, it really, I don't know, man, it really kind of kicked in, the whole thing. Like, this is real. The country's really, we're lost. It's gone. It's the country we knew is gone. There's no, at this point, there's no saving what was. There's only rebuilding what can be. And that's a tough adjustment for me. Because I have, like you, I'm certainly not alone in this passionate attachment to this place I grew up. Is it nostalgia? Is it a yearning for the halcyon days? I don't know. We all do it. You know, I read an interesting piece this week. Nostalgia. Everybody's buying nostalgic products now. They all want to watch Happy Days again, and they want steel lunch boxes. How they're like collector's items type objects now. People want thermoses from the 1970s with the Super Friends. Why? Because they care about the Super Friends? No, they're craving for a different time when America wasn't so crazy, because it wasn't. I know there's a confirmation bias to the present where we always think we're living in the craziest time, and we're not. We're not. Thankfully, this isn't the Civil War. However, I don't think a reasonable person would dispute that at least since the Vietnam era 60s, the country has not been as absolutely polarized. And I have never in my 49 years on the planet witnessed anything close to like what happened on Thursday in that third world court system up in New York. I've never seen anything like it. And maybe that's why I was stunned. But here's the good news, because it's Monday. And like I said, there's no weekend update because I just went out with Paula and all. And, you know, we had to kind of take it easy. I had to take it all in. I felt almost, I don't know, dirty enjoying myself this weekend or anything. So the good news is I know you've heard it before, and a lot of it was maybe some false bravado. Not by me, but I know you've heard it before that you poked the bear, but no, this is real, folks. You feel it. You know the energy shifted. You know it. I'm not talking about Capitol Hill and Republic. Forget them. Forget, you're the leaders we've been waiting for, as my friend Ginny says all the time. You're the leaders we've been waiting for. I sense the energy shift. People I know in my life who are marginally at best involved in politics. I'll give you a quick example. I'm not going to say, I wouldn't dare say who, but because it's not, it's not important. I promise you, true story. It's not like one of those liberal stories. Yeah, the Starbucks and a guy told me Trump's a Nazi. They made that up. This is real. I'm checking out this thing this weekend, this property, and looking at some stuff. And Paula says to me, you never believe who texted me. I'm like, who's she? Remember? I'm like, about what? We haven't spoken to this person forever. She wants to know where to donate to Donald Trump. I'm like, what? This person's a transplant from the Northeast who has never once mentioned politics ever. I promise you it's a true story. DonaldJTrump.com is where you go. Folks, they raised $300 million, man. Do you have any idea how much money that is? I ran for office 3 times and had pretty well-funded campaigns. I think the entire 3 times, I think I raised $8 million. He raised $300 million in about 5 days. People who donate vote. The Democrats, believe me when I tell you, put a slight smile on your face on Monday. You got Fauci, this goofball, up there today answering questions. And now today, the facts back me up that the left absolutely knows they poked that bear, and the bear finally got up. I'd say trust me on this, but I'm obligated to produce evidence that the left is freaking out a bit, and I have it. Don't go anywhere during the show. I never say anything without being able to back it up. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-6486. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-6486. That's 800-550-6486. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Dan Bongino.
What do Dan Bongino, Ben Carson, and Bill O'Reilly all have in common? They all have books in the NewstalkSTL book club. Get Pfeiffer here from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show with Katie Fitzpatrick from Columbo and Katie.
Every day we talk to some of the sharpest, most well-informed, and influential people in America. So we decided to make it that much easier to find their work to keep you in the know.
Just go to NewstalkSTL.com, click the News and More tab, and then the NewstalkSTL Book Club link. Happy reading.
Go to NewstalkSTL.com/book club.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
An important message now from all of us at Connor Roofing. So many of our friends and neighbors have storm damage from wind and hail. Please do not get ripped off by an out-of-town storm chaser who knocks on your door. Connor Roofing is a local St. Louis family business with decades of outstanding customer reviews. Connor Roofing has been here and will be here long after the door knockers are gone. If you think you have storm damage,